And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. We're getting ready to go live here with our special guest. Glad you all could be with us. We're simulcasting right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, on YouTube, and X. We're about to bring in our family over on IG as well. And we're now live on IG as well. Thank you all so much for being on with us. I have a very special guest that's returning with us, his second time this year. I mean, we're going to start charging him rent. Uh, but we're excited to welcome back the one and only Chris Collier to our broadcast. Chris and I have been friends for years, which is why I have to keep an eye on him because I don't want him telling anything he shouldn't be doing. But you guys know him as a brand strategist. He's the host of the show Conquer with Chris. He also has been helping you guys to become better equipped when it comes to YouTube. I took Chris's class just last month. He has another class that's coming up literally next week. We're going to tell you guys about it, what you can learn from that, but also how you guys can stay connected with Chris. Chris is a good guy. Stay connected with him and all the great things that he's doing. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you guys put those in the chat. Hello to you, Brennan. I think it is Indy Brennan. Hello to you on IG. 563 Music Group. Hello to you. But Chris, welcome back to the broadcast, man.
Thanks for having me, Cyrus. I feel like I live here.
You look, that's what I'm saying. Let's start charging you, man. But no, I'm excited about this, Chris, because you're doing a lot of great things for yourself personally, but also helping others. I should let our audience know, for those who don't know, Chris and I have been friends for years. He actually is married to the person who was my first guest on Conversations Live, the radio show, 21 years ago, his wife, Angela Collier. But Chris and I literally just met each other in person this year at his conference he had in Atlanta, Branding Billions. I want to start there as a springboard, Chris, because you've done so much since that conference. What has it been like for you to see the way your own business's brand is growing?
Oh man, I didn't announce this yet. I got a notification that I have 675,000 views on my content since
Wow.
launching my YouTube channel, and
Wow.
I'm fully monetized. What's changed is let me say this is people talk about multiple streams of income,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem with that is you got to have one stream before you have multiple.
Mm.
And so the YouTube, I'm just focusing it down on YouTube and training people on YouTube because that's all one stream. And I want people to know that YouTube is a viable spot to create revenue
Yeah. I
and
love that.
get your brand out.
Yeah. And Chris, and not to cut you off, but I love the fact that you said that. And that's a really profound thing. It's simple, but it's something a lot of people don't think about. You're right. We do hear about multiple streams of income. You and I both do that. I think a lot of entrepreneurs do that. We have a lot of different ways that we're able to monetize our gifts and our talents, right, in our business. But you're right. It all begins with one. How did you realize that marketing was one of those ones for you?
Well, here's the thing is I'm a personal brand strategist. I help people with their brands. But branding is just making a promise. Marketing is how you deliver that promise. So marketing is important because people don't trust your brand or who you are and what you deliver till you tell them how, right? And the old saying is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
So the caring part is explain to them how you care for them, how you serve them, how you help them, how you assist them, whatever verb or adverb you want to put in there
Mhm.
to help them grow into who they're supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, that's what all business is about. If you sell tires, you're helping people get down the road. You sell food, you're helping people get energy or have a social environment to interact. So the thing is like you're providing some type of service to somebody.
Mhm. Yeah. And that is not always easy, right? Especially when it's someone like yourself, someone like me, who likes to do a lot of different things. How have you learned how to focus, Chris? Because I think for a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and I wasn't planning on even talking about this, but since you brought this up, I think that's a great thing for us to talk about. Uh, how and what has helped you to focus so that you can be able to give your audience what they need?
Cyrus, that's a great question. I just want to say is uh, through coaching, I've had several people help me, and they say, Chris, you're all over the place. You're a mess. And then not only that, but one of the things is we don't learn until there's some sort of pain, and the
Mm,
pain of not making money also influence that. So it's a spearhead, like 2 points come together. Um, the not making money and people saying, Chris, you're talented, you're a smart guy. Um, Even though you may jokingly say that that may, or that's subjective. You got you get you people will see you all over the place, and you're a branding expert. You're this, you're that, you're the other thing. That's all great, but they want to know how can you impact and help them grow beyond just a couple words of encouragement or information. And I found that there's a lot of people on YouTube, but there's not a lot of people telling other people how to get good at YouTube.
Mm, yeah, love that. I love that, Chris, and that's such a great point. And you are very good at what you do, by the way. I just want to let our audience know that Chris is very good. So, Chris, I mentioned the Branding Billions conference that we had this year. I had a chance to be a part of that. But then you went into doing your classes with YouTube. So you have found success on YouTube again. Congratulations on that. What was it like for you to see the response from the class last month, and what are you excited about when it comes to the next class that's coming up?
So just being able to help people, seeing how oh, I didn't know that, I couldn't see that, and then learning how presenting, just because you know something doesn't mean the information gets across. I got a
Yeah.
lot of great feedback on how to present better. Just because I know it, and sometimes when you know it, you get verbal diarrhea,
Mm-hmm.
and people don't know how to receive that, and you have to slow yourself down and be methodical and share and explain all those type of things. And one of the other things I learned is having great workbooks. I just got this off the printing press, the workbook for this next class.
Mm-hmm.
When they come to the class, I don't just teach, I give you a workbook so you can follow along. I found out that's helpful because there's an old saying: the weakest ink is stronger than the strongest memory.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're writing stuff down, you're taking notes, and then you apply it almost immediately,
Right.
your chances of success grow exponentially.
Right. I totally agree. Errol, hello to you. Good to be able to see you. We have to get back together, man. I see you over there on IG. Glad you can join us. But I see you guys over there on YouTube as well. If you guys have any questions for Chris, let me know. For those who are just tuning in, you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. We're simulcasting on social media today on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram, and appropriately so because we're talking to a brand strategist today, a media personality, as well as an individual who I'm glad to call my friend, Chris Collier. We're talking with him about his year. He had a conference this year earlier that I had a chance to be a part of there in Atlanta. But now he's helping other individuals with YouTube strategies. And he's been able to do that. I was a part of his class, took his class actually last month, found it very helpful. He has one that's coming up. So, Chris, the class that's coming up is actually next Thursday. The information's on our screen there for our audience. That's Thursday, December the 12th. Talk to us about this class and who it's for and what they can expect, Chris.
If you want, if you have a channel, or have a Gmail and have started a channel but haven't done anything with it, this is for you. It's basic operations, right? I call it converting content, just because you want people to see your content and you want people to engage with your content, watch your content, consume your content, because the facts are, if they consume 6 hours of your content, they will become a fan if they like what they hear and see. So we teach people how to master YouTube navigation, understand the dashboard, your studio, and the key tools in just the YouTube format, and then other tools that are added, right? How to create videos that shine, learn how to upload, optimize, and attract your tribe, your group, right? So you can grow with confidence, unlock strategies that actually work versus beating your head against the wall and failing. Um, our goal is to get you to 100 subscribers as quick as possible. All attendees who come to this particular webinar will get the previous webinar. So it's really highly discounted. Why should you attend, right? Why should someone attend? They will get skills and confidence. I believe skills create competence, and then confidence and competence working together create an irresistible system. So people can have success on YouTube if they choose.
Yeah, love that. And I think, again, as you heard from Chris's numbers at the beginning of this broadcast, he's someone who knows this. I tell people all the time, the things I know, the things I don't know, I love to learn. YouTube is not a strength of mine, which is why when I started working with Chris, I said, you know what, you need to be teaching this because people like me can benefit from this. And so that's why I was willing to invest in myself last month. That's why I'll be investing in myself again this month, because I think it's important that we learn the things we don't know, especially when we have people around us that know it. It can help us to be able to get it. As you guys saw there, I want to pull that back up. The class is only $79 for the class that Chris is doing next Thursday. For those who are joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, we have the link there for you guys. Those joining us on IG, I'll put it in my stories for you guys. Those on X, I'll put it in the comment section for the live broadcast there on X for you guys. But this is definitely worth the investment. The great thing, I want to speak for Chris for a second and say what I appreciated about the class last month was that he's giving information, yes, but you're able to ask questions as well along the way. So he's very active with the chat that's there, and I wasn't the only one that was asking questions. And I want to talk about that for a second, Chris, because I think so many times we've seen people have webinars, that kind of thing, and that people may be there, but the chat is dead. No one's asking questions. Why would you encourage people to not only to come, but also to ask their questions while they're there?
Well, see, it's like when you drive, right? You have 3 mirrors, a rear view mirror and 2 side mirrors, right? You use those because you don't see what you don't see. You don't know what you don't know. And sometimes even as somebody who has the information, I don't know what you need to know. I don't know what questions you're going to ask. I might have the information to answer that. I may not. But here's the thing. Until you ask the question, somebody asks the question, I don't know how that information fits them or how to fit the information to what they need. Yeah. So that being interactive, plus it shows the person who's doing the training that you're active and interested in what they have to say. Worst thing you can do, the worst thing you do is buy a training and not go. Second worst thing you can do is buy a training, show up, and don't get anything out of it because you're not participating. Mm-hmm. And maybe you know more than YouTube than me. You should come to this class just to learn how to present or how not to present, depending on what level you're at, right? You might see some flaws in what I do, and that's fine. But we all are in a process, right? No one's reached their final form, so to speak.
Yeah. I just, for those of you joining us on Facebook, because I did get a DM there, someone asked about the link. I did just put it with this broadcast so you guys can see it there in the chat. I'm going to highlight it here briefly, but you'll see it in the comment section, even if you're watching the replay. So you'll see there the link there. So, Chris, what has it been like for you to hear from people, myself included, that have attended your classes and have actually gotten value, gotten from it what you wanted? How does that make you feel as an instructor, but also as someone who's trying to share information?
Well, you find out things that you did well, and it feels great, right? You find out things that you didn't do as well as you would like, and it gives you opportunity to grow and go beyond where you currently are. It stretches you as a person, which is great because if we all stay stagnant, we don't ever grow. So, and then having that feedback is great because sometimes you get stuck in your own mind and you said, well, this was horrible or this was great. And if you just have an echo chamber, then you're just stuck to your own devices, and that's not a good thing. Because even though I'm teaching, I'm learning more than what I teach by teaching.
Gotcha. And that's why it's so great as well. Now, we're going to remind people again, Chris, how they can be a part of the class, because that's one of the main reasons why you're here. But we also want to talk about your show, Conquer with Chris. Talk to us, for those who are just finding out about Conquer with Chris, talk to us about the show and the premise of the show and the type of guests you have there.
Well, we have people who are successful, because what I've learned is in the Bible, there's a verse that says, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Some of you might not like the Bible, but let's just take that scripture for this part. I heard this from a very wealthy man. He said, autobiographies will shorten your curve to success faster than anything you know. So what I do is I pretty much get someone's autobiography out of them, find out what caused them to succeed, what principles they put in place. And typically it's digital marketers, authors, people who are successful in business or entrepreneurship. And we get the success principles from them. And a lot of times it's so helpful because you see the blind spots, once again, the mirrors that you have. And so as the host, a lot of times I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't see that was a problem for me.
Yeah.
And So sharing that with other people, and sometimes I get tremendous feedback. So we do pretty much three different forms of content. We do short form, we do the long video, but it's like similar to this where someone's being interviewed, and we do the talking head where I talk about digital marketing principles, and break things down on a smaller level than a whole webinar.
For asking this question for the entrepreneurs out there. Hey, Tracy, good to be able to see you over there on IG. Glad you could join us. Tracy O'Neill Horton is with us over there on IG. Asking this question now for the audience, Chris, because I think for people out there who may be watching you, maybe watching us, even in this conversation, may say, hey, I believe I can do that, or I believe it's my gift to be able to do that. What encouragement would you give them about getting started, especially as we're getting ready to wrap up this year?
Well, don't wait. Get started. You're closer than you think, but you'll never start until you start. And you'll never. This is the thing. You owe it to your family, your ancestors, your grandchildren, children, your wife, your family, your community, to God, to your country, to be successful. The worst thing you could be is not successful. And that's all by choice. Well, I've tried and I didn't make it. That's not failure. Failure is not trying.
Yeah.
And giving up, right? So you have to try and you have to be successful, because guess what? You have to be like Thomas Edison, who created he's known for creating the light bulb. Whether he did or not is not the issue. The issue is his mentality, right? He took 10,000 attempts to create a light bulb. 9,999 of them didn't work. And he might have done 10,050. We don't know what the exact number was, but his thing he said was, I found out 9,999 ways. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
He didn't fail. It just didn't work. So find out something that works for you and work.
Love that.
Hey, Stacey.
Stacey, good to be able to see you over there on Facebook. Chris, such a great thing. And Chris, I have to say, I give Chris a hard time. I think anyone in my circle will say I probably give everyone a hard time, but I see such great things in Chris. I'm so proud of Chris. So I'm always excited to have conversations like this with him, but I'm also equally excited to see him use the gifts that he has to help other people. And the two things we've talked about here are a great example of that with Chris. Chris is very good at teaching. He has a passion for sharing information with people. So I, again, enjoy his classes, and I think you will as well. But he's also very good at what he does with his show. And what I also love, Chris, is that Chris isn't trying to be anyone else. Chris is Chris. And I think that is so key, too, to not trying to emulate other people, but to realize what your gift is and to double down on that. So, Chris, I want to ask you, for our audience, what would you say to them about the importance of that? We live in a world that is very quick to tell us, you could be the next X, Y, or Z. How important has it been for you to just make sure you're being true to yourself?
Well, I kind of like take a controversial thing to that.
Okay.
Everyone's kind of like Batman. I mean, we'd love to be Iron Man, we'd love to be Wonder Woman, we'd love to be Superman, but we really don't have. We do have superpowers, but they're not superpowers like to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
But we have everyone has their own utility belt. So you may take a piece of the Rock, right? If you smell what he's cooking, right? You may take a piece of this person or that person and put it in your utility belt, but it's only a piece. You still got to be you.
Right.
So if I try to be Cyrus Webb, I'm going to be a second-rate Cyrus Webb, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, we've got to be the first-rate us. And when we're the first-rate us, it shines through in all those little things. A piece of the Rock, a piece of, the old Gatorade commercial. I want to be like Mike. I want to be like Mike, right? So you want to be like Michael Jordan. Great. But what part of that can you be like him, but still be yourself?
Yeah.
So you don't want to lose who you are, because at the end of the day, it's night. But besides that, you're only left with yourself. You're only left with yourself. And you can't be someone else, because people will see through that. People will see when you're not really you. Because when you turn, and here's a tip. I learned this from professional wrestling. I trained to be a professional wrestler for a while. You want to find yourself, the character you, whatever your name is. You want to turn that up to about 1,200. and be you, but be authentically you, be all the way you, and sell that. Cyrus is a laid back type of guy. I'm kind of intense at times, but I can be laid back too. But you got to know how to do that dance with yourself, so that
Yeah.
way people can endear themselves to you. Because if you're not yourself, people know you're a phony. They can see a phony from a mile away.
Mhm. Such a great thing. Such a great reminder, too, Chris. Again, everyone, Chris Collier has been our guest. Again, he's the host of Conquer with Chris, but also is gearing up for his upcoming class next Thursday. You guys can see it there. You too can YouTube. It's coming up on Thursday, December the 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, only $79. And as you heard Chris mention, you only, of course, get the live training with him next week, but you also get his previous training and a workbook as well. For those who are joining us on Facebook, the link is already provided there. For those joining us on LinkedIn, we have it provided with this broadcast as well as on YouTube. On X, as I mentioned, we're going to be putting it in the comment section. And on Instagram, I'll put it in my stories. Chris, always great to be able to have you on. Let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
On Facebook, Conquer with Chris, YouTube, Conquer with Chris, Instagram, Conquer with Chris. I want to say this, for those who attended last month, you get a discount. DM me and I'll give you the info. It's a little bit, there's a discount code. I don't want to put it out for everyone to hear because then they'll use it.
Okay. There you go. There you go. Awesome. Chris, congratulations. Looking forward to the class next week and looking forward to our next chat together, man.
Thanks for having me, Cyrus. It's always a pleasure.
Same here. Same here. Thank you, Stacey. Appreciate that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Checkmate, hello to you. Good to see you over there on IG. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you all soon. You all take care.